Ambassador Fabian, what happened at the World Health Assembly in Geneva? Did China outsmart the United States?
Thank you for the question, and the answer is simple. Yes, China did outsmart the United States. If you compare diplomacy to a game of bridge, Trump had better cards. Xi Jinping had a weak hand, but he was able to finesse to perfection. Trump did not make use of the trumps that he had. He could have argued against China and against WHO as follows. 1. China was irresponsible to its own people when it permitted the mayor of Wuhan to host a huge banquet for 40,000 families. I repeat, 40,000 families on the 18th of January, when 6 weeks ago instances of pneumonia had started appearing in Wuhan. Obviously, the virus went viral on the 18th of January. On the 20th, Beijing sent an eminent virologist, Dr. Shong Nanshan, 83 years old. He made the investigations. He went on national television and said in plain English, I am putting it, that there was a looming danger of an epidemic. China put Wuhan and the rest of the province under lockdown on the 22nd. Now, on that day, 22nd of January, or better still, on the 20th of January, the WHO should have declared an emergency. Instead, on the 22nd and on the 23rd, the emergency committee met. There was division of opinion. Some of them wanted to act professionally and declare an emergency. The rest wanted to please China. And can you imagine this? This emergency committee decided to meet 10 days later, as though the virus will wait. The Director General had second thoughts. He went to China on the 26th of January. He came back, and the committee met again on the 28th, and by the 30th, and the emergency was declared. Now, that was only an emergency. On that day, the same Director General went out of his way to tell the whole world that there was no need to stop civil aviation flights between China and the rest of the world. In other words, he was saying that, of course, there is human-to-human transmission, but let the flights fly as usual. Can you imagine anything more illogical? The WHO moved, well, I can't say it moved, it outsnailed the snail. And by the 11th of March, when more than 3,100 human beings had died, the WHO declared a pandemic. Is there a rule in WHO that before declaring a pandemic, more than 3,000 human beings should have died? So both WHO and China were at fault. Now, instead of using these arguments, Trump unwisely threatened to cut off funds to WHO. Incidentally, he does not have the power. It's only the Senate that can do it. Secondly, his Secretary of State Pompeo repeated again and again that he had, quote, enormous evidence against China, unquote, without sharing any evidence, and the more he repeated, the less credible he sounded. Xi Jinping was watching all these trumperies from Beijing, and he moved in with the killer instinct that he has. On day one of the assembly, he addressed it, vindicated China, complimented WHO, and to fortify his argument, he announced a grant of $2 billion to assist developing countries, with special reference to Africa, where China would help establish a CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, meanwhile, a resolution was going round, drafted by the European Union, which called for an independent evaluation of what WHO had done in the context of COVID-19. Australia stiffened it. It said it should be impartial and independent. Well, as more and more people joined the resolution, China changed its tack. China also joined, and then it was decided that the chair will move it and it should be adopted unanimously. Well, the chair changed the language. The word impartial was removed. Independent remained. But basically, if you read the resolution, it requests the Director General to conduct such a review. Obviously, if the Director General is conducting the review, the Director General cannot be the subject of that review. Now, another matter, Pompeo had supported Taiwan's bid to get its observership restored. 15 small countries, micro states, wrote to WHO, but Pompeo did not write. And even before the General Committee was able to discuss the matter, Taiwan withdrew its demand, seeing that there was no support. So China had full victory and America had a full defeat. But let's put it in some context. That was only a battle in the ongoing Cold War between the rising China and the declining United States. Thank you so much for lending me your ears.